lot of experience on that offensive line unit, you know, and that gives your quarterback time to throw the ball. But most importantly, as we saw in that Division I final, if you can run the ball successfully, you're very difficult to beat.
Yeah, when we saw a tagline of something like 6 completions from 17 passes was enough to win the MVP because of the sort of the additions in the run game, gaining a few first downs with their feet. And hopefully we'll see something similar today with a good running presence. He lets it bounce twice, which is...
He's got an opening now, Jonathan.
Oh, he has. Lulled him in with an absolute
He gets round a man, one to beat. That's a nice solid hit, but he's bounced off it. And after what looked to be a bit of a shaky start, he managed to pick up some blocks, beat a tackle and got to the edge.
Yeah, it's one of those horrible moments where the ball bounces on the floor and everyone sort of gasps. Quite often it's the defensive team that hesitates. It didn't really seem to happen, but the middle seam just opened up, and it burst the space, burst the speed there from the returner.
So here we go, 2x2 set, shotgun, single back. This is what we're expecting. 44, cover 3 show from Inverclyde. Give on the inside, pulls the right guard. Acres of space. So Inverclyde mentioned they expected to see some guards pull in.
Yeah, and it looked like a nice shotgun power there with the backside guard pulling and leading him through a huge hole. And that looked like Carwyn Chamberlain, known as the Welsh Wizard. You can see he's got quick feet. Obviously, they're trying to...
They said he's a man to look for. If he gets into the open field, he's quite difficult to get to.
He's had a huge return already. He's had a very positive run for a first down.
Drops back, looks right. Throws underneath, it's a clean grab. And he is in for the touchdown. Number 20, and the sideline erupts.
And actually you could see there from the initial throw, the QB's presence was wonderful. He stood up big, his head had good movement, and he found his target with an accurate pass, and the receiver...
Number 20.
Matthew Fitzsimmons, very safe hands and deceiving pace.
Yeah, I mean, he was a big guy, but he had some wheels on him. Now, you've got to ask yourself...
And both number 1 and number 5 for Inverclyde, 2 safeties that are playing, both look extremely athletic.
Yeah.
But they haven't been able to get
There's
into the
that
game
nice boot, and it's good. That's an early 7-0 lead. And that is the perfect start, Jonathan. You lose the coin toss. Yeah. You take 3 plays, you march it down the field, an easy extra point, and you're already sitting on a 7-0 lead. And it can only be a couple of minutes gone in this first quarter.
Worrying for Inverclyde. The kicker, number 5, Fabio
Martaruno,
okay.
A little story about him, Jonathan.
Got a chance to return the ball.
So here we go. Let's look to number 25, Bud McFerrin, as one of the return men. He is the threat of this team, apparently the fastest man on the pitch. They're going to try to get the ball in his hands as many times as he can. Let's see if Holt can kick it away from him.
Well, he's standing right in the middle of the field, even though there's 2 returners back. It's clear that he's the lead guy and he wants to get across there, and it will be him to return, but the ball sails over his head for a touchback.
And with a tailwind, that ball bounced halfway into the end zone. So we see already what having a decent kicker can do. You just stop that danger man even touching the ball. So,
fortunately for us and for you, you'll be able to see on the far side the Halton flags are flying, which means we've got a very clear wind indicator, and it looks like it's picking up as well. The wind is fully extending that flag on the far side of the field, and going into this wind, 7-0 down in a final, we'll have to see what Inverclyde can do.
Inverclyde can run the ball between the tackles. Number 2, the quarterback, Chris Kennedy, he's happy to play the game. They're expecting an 8-man box, and they're willing to run against that. We've got tight end right, 2 backs. Number 42, Davy Orr to block. A good push.
And they'll be very happy with that on the first play, trying to basically knock Halton down from this high energy start they've got. Make no mistakes, 3-yard gain right up the middle. This is what we're all about.
Well, everybody's seen the tape now. Inverclyde are going to run the ball between the tackles. They know they're going to do it. Halton know they're going to do it. The question is, can they stop them?
Halton's linebackers look pretty big.
Their whole defensive box defender set look pretty big, as do their offensive line. They are big boys.
I don't think they'll shy away from this challenge, but we can see there's no real free safety in the middle of the field. So
pitch right, runs into his blocker.
That's huge effort inside.
Number 95 in on the stop. I think he's one of those
Quinn.
DNs.
Yeah, he's very, very aggressive. He's really quick. David Quinn, number 95. And he did really well to fight through contact there as well. So he was engaged, and he just kind of used the offensive lineman or the fullback that came to block him as a hand shield. And
so here we go to spread. It's 3rd and 10, and we've gone to spread, Jonathan. So Bud McFerrin out on the left. Oh, goes with a hard count, but I think the right guard jumped.
Yeah, right guard, right tackle looked like there was movement.
It's number 51, Musty Bastikin.
Was it in response? There is a bit of a discussion here. They are giving it offside because it looked like the movement was in response. And if someone enters the neutral zone,
you can then defend yourself. So that'll turn it into a 3rd and 5. It opens up the run game again.
Yeah. Yes. That's all.
So now, Jonathan, are we going to see spread on 3rd and 5 as opposed to 3rd and 10?
Well, I don't know. Sorry, we're just having a few small issues with the microphones at the minute that we're trying to get sorted.
So we bump out and spread again. Davy Orr's a single back. Chris Kennedy surveys the field. He's trying to get a mismatch on the left, yeah.
That's a first down.
I think he did just enough. That was quite a high ball. Oh, the referee marks it slightly short. That was a high ball, which meant the receiver had to sit up and wait. Now we can see Holton started off in that cover 3, and the cornerback bailed just before the snap of the ball. Brings up 4th and short.
Oh, with velocity. I did notice before the play he was lined up very wide. The receiver on this side of the field is it's a punt formation.
Yep. Well, we've got Bud McFerrin. Is that number 25? Bud McFerrin into punt. We might have a fake off him later on. It's a nice, beautiful punt. The Gunners get a good block on the gunner, though. And that is some beautiful hard running. He bounces off another defender. He's going for the corner. And he's in! And he must have broken 5 tackles on his way in, but there's a flag on the far side. We have a flag on the far side. That was some amazing running. Did you catch the number there, Jonathan?
The runner was 49.
I mean, that all came off. I hate to harp on about special teams, but the gunner who's chasing the punt just didn't get anywhere near it, which gave him enough time to pick it up and go, and then he did it all on his own.
Yeah, and actually with our Turner, so and just watch him go, and we certainly have done then.
So we have 2 offsetting penalties, that is a get out of jail free card there, Jonathan. That was a beautiful return for a touchdown, but offsetting penalties, and we'll replay 4th down.
Yeah, it's a huge break there.
I mean, that would have been a hole that would be difficult to get out of, going 14-0 down this early in the game.
Absolutely, yeah, and the long snap didn't look very crisp. The punt hung up there. The Gunners, whilst they were down,
another bounces off the floor.
We've got a fake here.
I think that's a good individual effort. The punt snap bounced on the floor. He did well to get away. He had to roll out under pressure.
It's a little bit reminiscent of I hasten to make this comparison, but a little bit. They were making sloppy mistakes, uncharacteristic Warriors mistakes. Now, obviously, in that game, they ended up winning quite comfortably and pulled away with it when they.
But it was a game for quite a while. That was a great game.
Absolutely was. It was a brilliant game. And
so Holton get the ball back. They're still 7-0 up, and we're still in the first. They've got a tailwind.
And we really need to see Inverclyde sort of flip the switch here, or this is going to get ugly. Far side receiver.
Oh, that's a poor snap, and he has to fall on it.
So we're going to be looking at
number 42 recovers the snap.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at about 2nd and 12 now. 2nd and 13 maybe.
Inverclyde's defence has to force them to punt here, otherwise this could go ugly early.
Yeah, and already seeing there hasn't really been a change in structure from the Inverclyde defence. The far side cornerback, number 16, is playing very far off, very open to the play, and it looks like slant all day. Number 4 is way too far inside, looks like he's invested in the box, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them run a slant again.
And it's picked!
And
I think that was more of a post, but it was a similar concept.
Yeah,
He was
this
man
is-
coverage against 16, but this time, number 16, Grant Malcolmson, his first season with the Goliaths after having a previous senior season. That's what they needed, isn't it,
Yeah,
Jonathan?
But it's a bizarre decision from the Halton OC and from the quarterback, because just before that play, I was saying number 16 is stood 10, 12 yards off the ball and bailing.
And they run a post against that
They
towards
run
a single high.
I don't even think it was a post though. I think it was just underthrown.
Right, you
It
think he was
looked-
maybe going for a fade?
It looked like an outside release and a fade over the top, and it was underthrown. So it just seems a strange decision when the cornerback's playing
So
that
2
spot.
big breaks for Inverclyde, gets them the ball back. They're going to run it up the middle again, number 33 on the carry.
And
That's Mike Orr. He is the son of the fullback, Davey Orr. So we've got father and son backfield at the moment, Jonathan. It's not often you see that.
Yeah.
We're going all the way back to the
I think-
80s and
I think,
90s, the Clydesdale Colts.
Yeah, I did notice that Halton have a Carl Rugen Senior, and I'm really hoping to see a Carl Rugen Junior now. But it doesn't
He might
look
be
like
3
he's
years
on-
old at home, you never know.
It doesn't look like he's on the list quite yet.
So I formation, tight end right. Oh, that's a hard count again. Jumps
3-5
him.
with the contact, and on that first down, you saw a backside player wrap around and make the tackle. Clearly, he wasn't accounting for the QB on the boot or
On the zone, on the read. But I don't
There
think
is
they
no-
run a read on this
No,
because
that's
it's
what
all
I'm
a
saying.
man
Well,
blocking scheme.
That's what I'm saying. There is no read. They
But you're
didn't
thinking
account
maybe a
for him on
boot.
the boot, so maybe that's an angle for Inverclyde to explore. If the backside linebacker out the 44 is making a play on a front side inside run, really you need to get out of that pocket with a boot, with a sprint.
Now here we go, Jonathan. Second and short. The QB has an arm. We know they would go for it on third and short with a run. Is this a good second push?
Yeah, you see them push the pilot. I think you're right. There's an opportunity to take a deep shot there, but importantly, Inverclyde need a foothold in the game.
Yep.
More than anything, they need a foothold in the game. And if they're going to win this game, they need to control the clock. We have seen in the first 3 or 4 plays from Halton that they are explosive.
Yes.
If you give an explosive team lots and lots of opportunities,
They're going to
they will
score lots and lots. So they're
Yeah.
going to play
So I think-
position
I
management,
think-
time management, grind
Yeah,
it out,
and I
keep
think
your defense
Inverclyde
fresh.
Really need to take the wind out of Halton's sails, and it's definitely been an improvement. But this transition from spread to I form, it's very jarring at the moment, and we've not
Looks right.
massively seen a benefit.
That is a
Now,
beauty.
the first initial glimpses, it didn't look like we were going to
Yeah.
see a benefit from the change, but we've just seen a nice spread play.
Chris Kennedy, QB, zipped that ball in there
Yeah,
this
of
time.
course. Yeah, he's extremely athletic, and he made a good run.
So we've got Bud McFerrin on one side, Rory on the other side. They've got a bit of a deep threat going on.
Absolutely, yeah, and they've got a lot of space inside.
Give
We
left
saw-
and unblocked for the backside. Number 95, the lineman, just got through and made the tackle straight
yeah,
away.
and it's a little bit of afters here, but that's just as the emotions from a final. Yeah, we've seen the 2 biggest pass plays have come on short inside breaking routes, 2 kind of like slants. Rory on that last play looked like it was like maybe a curl in, a slant in, a hitch. You know, he kind of broke inside.
So
of
let's
his cover
talk
three
about
defender.
number 95. How did he manage to get through virtually untouched? Are they leaving him because he's split out?
No, I think there was just a bit of a missed assignment and a bit of a missed time in there. We saw the QB open up the other way and then reach to hand it off. I'm not sure if everyone was on the same page.
Rolls right, and he keeps it this time. It looks like a QB lead. Well, that's going nowhere, Jonathan.
No, absolutely.
So the QB's not afraid to keep it and go.
What was really interesting though, he kept it in the direction of the flow. So they telegraphed early to this big defensive front, to this strong linebacker core, that the ball is going to the right. Then the quarterback also went to the right. I'd much rather see them fake it one way and go the other way and try
I
and
spoke
create
to the
some
offense.
split flow.
I spoke to the offensive coordinator, and he said they've faced 8-man boxers all year, and they're not afraid to run at them. So I think we're going to see more of the same. Looks right again. Looks for number 1 again.
That's a good solid play there. Well.
Was it enough? It's just short. So here we go. It's our first decision. Now, Inverclyde said they've got about a 20-yard range on the field goal, and it's into wind. So
out of range here, because kicking from your 31 gives you about a 48-yarder.
Into wind.
Yeah, they're going for it here. And I think as well, punting doesn't really hold much stock after they've already returned one. And then try and come back the other way.
So not quite in the red zone. Give right.
That's a good
Finds a little crease.
And this running back is tough to bring down.
Very patient as well. He just waited.
He's patient, he's calm, and every time he's going into contact, if he's already gained 5, he's adding another 2.
You cannot afford to give up 9 yards this close to your own end zone on a first down, especially against high formation, Jonathan, because we know we're running it between the tackle.
Up here. An interesting mismatch for me, I feel, is the size.
An ex-University of West Scotland Pyro joined the club during the association process.
Looks like he's just short. You know, if you're a fullback or a tailback in this situation, and you're at 2nd and 1, and you're 1-on-1.
You got to lower that shoulder and get across that line.
I think you do.
But we've got 2 downs here, Jonathan. I'm going to expect them to go for it on 4th and short if they don't make it.
Yeah,
what we can't give away is a negative play on 3rd down.
Still at about a 35-yard field goal.
So what's this Holton front 8 going to do against this attack?
Well, they've shown that on short yardage situations, they bring the defensive end inside a little bit, and they bring the outside linebacker up and pressure them a little bit more. So I'd like to.
Goes over the top to number, and he's there!
What a score.
Number 1, Rory McDonald. Played 2 years in the GFL, and that's 3 catches on this drive, Jonathan. We are now 7-6, and Inverclyde have clawed their way back into this match.
And so far...
from their own 20-yard line, they have ran the ball, thrown it short, ran the ball, and now, as we get towards the red zone, have popped it over the top for the first time.
All this back on the back of that personal foul. They could have been 14-0 up, Holton. They're now 7-7. This is a real chance.
Well, 7-6. Are we going to see a kick, or are we going for 2?
Oh, yeah. 2.
So we're going for the lead.
Split back this time. 21 personnel, split back formation. QB.
He's rolling, he looks it.
He's got it.
Number 37 grabs it. So number 37, Scott Little on the grab.
Yeah, but he looks like he's short, which is it's either poor planning or just poor execution. I don't really see the point of running a route shorter than the end zone on a 2-point play, because the Holton defense were right there to stick him. Really interesting, these matchups we've got across the field. Number 1, Rory seems to have them beaten of his corner.
Yeah, he's also got very quick feet in the open field.
He's caught 2 under him. He's caught 1 over him.
Yeah.
It looks like that guy needs a little bit of support.
The problem you have is, on the other side of the field, number 25 is the fastest guy on the field.
Absolutely.
Where are you going to put your best cornerback? The guy that's got great hands or the burner?
Well, my first statement wasn't even about personnel. They probably need to get out of an 8-man box. They probably need to have help.
Yeah, but we've run the ball. They've run the ball from their own 20-yard line. You know, so number 95 on the grab.
It's a good tackle, and Holton will start at midfield. One of the mismatches that I think had an influence on the touchdown. Number 5 was in at tight end and ran like a sail route or like a deep corner, and it looked like the ball was going to get thrown to him. The cornerback looked like he hesitated because the linebacker can't run with number 5, and it turns out that Rory was.
Oh, no way. So what we've got is one guy not following the scheme, and look where it gets you.
Potentially, I mean, okay, I only get one view at it and a glimpse at it, but number 5 in at tight end, he's also playing strong safety.
Yeah, and he's very close into the box. How is he going to cover that? I've got a big receiver.
Maybe scored the touchdown going the long way around. Instead, he cut vertical, lowered his shoulder, gained an extra 2, and they're rolling here with 2nd and 3. Look at how deep the corner on the far side is, number 16.
That's beautiful throw and grab. Cuts back again. Does enough to get the first, Jonathan. That's really good awareness. The ball was rocketed in there. I mean, he really did well to hold on to it.
We talk about offensive theory, we talk about numbers, grass and leverage, and with number 16 aligning so deep, when the outside receiver pressed vertical, there was so much space for the slot to run into. The QB just leads him, and because there's so much space, so much grass out there, the Inverclyde defense feel they have to over pursue.
Yeah. So Gibbs again, pulls the right guard again, picks up a block, cuts back. Oh, he's still going.
Yeah, that's an excellent perfect. Off that short punt, starting at midfield. The first 30 yards haven't taken much more than 2 or 3 plays.
Pulls the guard again. 46 goes low, takes him down this time, but not after a nice 5-6 yard gain up the middle.
42 with his vertical commitment and that little skip step inside may have been tackled, but he still picks up 5.
Yeah.
We were about 2nd and 5 on about the 15 and a half.
And it's nice to see a team that's running spread with such aggressive linemen who like to get a body on a body.
Absolutely, and actually
those guys flying around the corner. You see those old linemen getting a weight forward and laying a face cage on someone.
That's why most bad spread teams are bad. The O-line is still the most vicious, violent position you can imagine.
We tried the speed option right after a per snap, but so that's the first time we've seen this speed option. But unfortunately for the Spartans offense, it was a poor snap, which meant the quarterback was late.
Absolutely,
Still got the pitch off, but we couldn't put that edge defender under pressure.
They did well to gain 2.5 there. The pitch really messes up the timing on the snap really messes up the timing there. But the quarterback, the veteran Rick Lothian, he's planning to retire.
Left, and he's going to throw left. He's got the top. 84, what a grab.
Yes.
Beautiful coverage from number 26, Stephen Mercer.
But it doesn't matter. Close. Ross Dryden absolutely rises up.
So we
Great
saw that
technique.
Slant arrow concept again. They've gone to that a number of times already, and we're still only in the first, Jonathan.
Yeah, and it is a symptom of Division 2. The 44 cover 3 is by far and away the most popular defense. It really puts your cornerbacks on an island vertically.
Stresses those
outside. It puts the outside linebackers on an island horizontally, and it's no surprise to see slant flat as the sort of most appropriate way of attacking that.
Let's see if IVG get a push on up the middle. It's a good rush, and he's through.
There you go. Didn't quite get the pickup clean.
Yeah, I mean,
he just hesitated. But this is what we said. The kicker does have a low trajectory. There was incredible push inside from Inverclyde, and they block one.
So
chance to take it back.
Coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if they go down and score again here, we've got a very interesting ball game. So that leaves us at 13-6. 13-6 to the Halton Spartans. And
so far, Jonathan, it's I'm not saying explosive from IVG, although it's been clinical from them on that last drive. But so far, it's been a little bit of a shootout.
We're still in the first quarter here, and it's good to see the number of passes completed. I think if we think back to last year's final that we did, even though they were spread teams, there were far fewer completions than this first quarter's already had.
So 25, Bud McFerrin lines up centrally again.
He's gone a bit deeper, and this
bit
time the
short of
kick's
the
a bit of a knuckleball, and it's cleanly fielded.
So number 5, a beautiful pursuit from 42 from behind. Great alligator roll to finish off that tackle.
Yeah, absolutely. And number 42's been playing some running back. He's down here on special teams making a tackle. He's really enjoying his finals experience so far.
So better field position than last time. They're going to start on their own 30-yard line as opposed to their own 20. Expect more of the same, slow and steady. If we see anything over the top, maybe try for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
I spoke to the offensive coordinator of IVG, and I said, you've run the ball. He says, that's because we've not needed to pass. So they do have a passing offense.
Yeah, the receivers certainly are a high standard.
Number 3 up the middle.
Yeah, and
James Duthie.
And a great physical presence by 95 David Quinn. Again, the DN made a play earlier in the first quarter.
So he gains only 1.5, maybe 2.
Yeah,
That
it
puts
looked
you behind the chains on a run.
certainly, yeah, and it looked like it was a good play because he broke a tackle yards after contact. But number 95 David Quinn had driven the person blocking him 3 or 4 yards back into the backfield. So even though they were 5 yards after contact, it's only 2nd and 8.
Great penetration.
And here they are in the straight out into the spread.
Looks right again to number 1.
Oh, he'd be disappointed with that.
In the backfield,
yeah, we're gonna. No, I'm not sure if we're gonna get a late hit on the QB here. Personal foul, late hit.
So 95, after singing his praises, gives away a late hit on the QB. That's an automatic first down, John.
Yeah, I'm still going to sing his praises because you'd rather your defensive ends were quick, aggressive. What the referee's saying here is we are accepting nothing in the head or neck area of the QB. It wasn't a huge hit. It sets the stall out that if the quarterback has thrown the ball and you still swipe and you still hit, you are going to get pinged. As long as there's consistency with that, both sides now know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got a decent crew here today, though, Jonathan, so it's nice to see them say that early.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And David Quinn now knows that it's up to him to respond.
And no, there's no afters, there's no back chat. These teams are locked in on the game. Gives it right, nothing fancy.
And it's the for a 44 coordinator on the defensive side of the ball, he's got to love that. Interior gaps tested, running back bounces to your outside linebacker. I mean, the outside linebacker has done nothing but take 2 steps forward and make a form tackle. That's exactly how they want this game to go.
Just a timeout at the moment.
Was that on the officials?
Oh, yeah, I think it's end of the first quarter. We're going to swap halves.
This wind isn't going away either.
That brings up a tailwind now for Inverclyde. We've already seen them throw it deep over the top once. Despite one bad throw to start with, the QB's actually been pretty on the money each time for Inverclyde.
Yeah.
Chris Kennedy and their offensive coordinator say he did have an arm and he can go deep.
Yeah, and they've just subbed out one of the bigger slots who was wearing a 40 number, subbed on number 5, who we know is athletic as well. And if we look at
Fabio Martaruno.
Yeah, if we look at the 3 receivers, number 1, number 5, and number 23 for Inverclyde, we have some real speed on the field.
Number 25, Bud McFerrin.
And look, 5 and 25 split out this side quite wide.
And on the far side, we've got number 1, so we've got a guy with really good hands. We've got a couple of speed merchants.
And we've already seen number 55 for Holton Spartans, the linebacker, Icheki Apakama.
And number 33, Mike Orr, split out as well. He's been playing some halfback.
Number 55 has brought quite a bit of joy. We were the victims / target of one of his videos and memes. He's quite the social media star at the moment, and we absolutely love it.
Looks left. Goes over the top to McFerrin, he grabs it, he's broken the tackle, and he jogs in, and there we go. We've seen number 1 targeted repeatedly. As soon as the cornerback comes up closer, number 25 will go over the top, and you just can't coach that. That is speed. So
yeah,
unfortunately for the Holton Spartans defender, he seems to have twisted a knee on the way down.
What was absolutely brilliant then, you don't tend to see it this much at this level, and I'm not sure if it was 100%, intended or just a throw.
You're going to say it's a back shoulder target?
Yeah, it looked as clean as day as a back shoulder target, and the receiver just adjusted his feet. And that's what really got the DB off balanced. So when he exploded, unfortunately the corners kind of slipped a bit and he's down injured on this side. And ultimately, 23 walks into the end zone.
Well, this is the problem, Jonathan. If you're setting up against a predominantly I formation team, you're stacking the box. You're really asking a lot of these cornerbacks now. Have they lulled him into a little soporific state by targeting number one?
Potentially, and I've been on the receiving end of it as a team. In 2009, we were in the.
They were going for two, Jonathan, to take the lead.
We were in the national final, and we got an absolute lesson from the Birmingham Lions.
So
we were a 44 cover 3 team, and we didn't find a way to adjust. Halton need to adjust their defense.
So QB rolls left, and it's caught. It's for the lead, number 5. Fabio Martiruno takes the lead, and it's now 1 point in front for Inverclyde. This is a shootout.
Yeah, it's 14-13, and we're seeing two different approaches to special teams. Halton talked their extra point up. They said how great the kicker was. We mentioned it pre-game, and unfortunately they've had one blocked. And that's why they're behind, because if you go for 2, you only have to get it every other time. And actually, the play design was very similar to the last. It went to the other side of the field, both to this near side of the field. But the very nice thing I noticed, now he wasn't the target this time, but the fullback that leaked out of the backfield was clearly in the end zone.
Yeah,
if they'd thrown it to any of the 3 Inverclyde receivers, they would have got that 2 points. So they noticed.
We've seen that flood concept. They put 3 receivers on one side and say, look, you can't cover them. With 2 defenders, somebody's going to be open.
And last time they ran it, he was short of the end zone and they didn't get it. Clearly the coaches are making adjustments, reaffirming the principles and saying you must cross that plane.
So now, into Halton Spartans, that's a short kick, number 49 makes a clean grab. And he's got space. One thing I'm going to say about the returners for Halton Spartans, they've been well coached. No histrionics, commit, make yards, go straight down the gut. Make them tackle you.
God bless rugby league players is all I can say. Coming from the town of
They're not looking for offload, they're not trying to find an angle. They're looking to make as many yards, making you suffer.
Coming from near Halton, St Helens myself, I've grown up in that hotbed of rugby league, and there's a certain breed of players that have made that transition. Some of my favourite players of all time, like Matt Bell up at the Saints, came from rugby league. Josh Tucker came from rugby league.
So everybody down at the Millbrow Sports and Social Club in Widnes who are watching this game, they'll be back in the Halton Spartans to take the lead in this next drive.
And it's so good to see things like that, fan engagement.
Oh, that's a beautiful play action. Had me filled. We faked the give on the power left.
And we're seeing this over and over again. 44 cover 3. Vertical stretch on the corner, horizontal stretch on the outside linebacker.
Throw in a play action to freeze them for a second.
Something has to change on both defenses. We have to see some sort of rotation, some sort of blitz, some sort of trap 2 or something. We've got to see something change.
Here we see the outside back on the far side. Number 5's got all kind of space to try and defend against the slot. Goes deep over the top. Oh, and that beautifully played by number 26, Stephen Mercer. Is that his second pick so far?
Number 16 got the first pick in the first quarter. They've now tested both cornerbacks, but again, they've thrown 2 interceptions on vertical concepts.
Into wind that time, and the ball hung up short.
Into wind when the cornerback is lining up 9 to 10 yards deep at the snap.
So we're saying they've got cover 3. He's already deep. He's bailing on the snap. It's very difficult into wind to throw a fade unless you got a real cannon.
Yeah, in there they were running like fade, speed out, and it wasn't clear that the fade was open. So maybe we should have been working the speed out.
Yours is still not brilliant. People are moaning about you cutting across each other.
Cuts back.
And Inverclyde are going to be pretty happy with that on first down. It didn't look like a pretty run, but it looks like it's effective for a 4 or 5 yard gain.
Here's the thing, Jonathan, you get the ball back off a pick to end the drive. What other offense would you like backed up in your own half than I formation? You know, this is their bread and butter. They're not going to panic. It's going to be difficult to put them under pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, they've shown that some of the biggest plays are coming out the spread. They're clearly well versed. They're clearly multiple on offense. I think that they're going to continue to drive the ball, continue to score points. I really do think
split out wide again.
I really do think it's the multiplicity on defense that needs to change.
Gives right, cuts it back up the centre.
Looks like the referees marked it short.
Yeah, he only got picked up a yard there. Real stiff defensive play up the middle.
And we're going to have a big third. Oh no, the chains are down. Are
we going for a measure?
No, it's been given now as a first down.
So that's a key first down, backed up in their own red zone.
Yeah, no, they're rolling again, and again look at the wide receivers. They're split out there. They're on an island. Holton's cornerbacks.
There's our free safety. He's sat in the box.
Yeah.
That's some beautiful running by number 33 up the middle, Mike Orr. Now, what we've seen from Holton is they're now asking a lot of their cornerbacks, because to stop this interior run game, that free safety is basically sat on the edge of the box. He's no help to the deep passing game.
Although I do think that it might be a bit of a tendency situation. Inverclyde have done an interior run on 1st and 10 every single time.
But they've also scored twice by throwing it on the fade.
No, absolutely, but not on 1st and 10.
I see.
And we're talking just purely from a tendency point of view. They possession and 10, 1st and 10, it tends to be I-form hand it off on the middle. 3rd and short, they're playing spread. You know, the safety is getting involved.
Short, gives it again, going for the first, met in the hole.
And he's met very well by
Number
2
52.
players. And if you were going to guess without looking, would you think they go to the spread here? Now it's 3rd and 4.
Probably only about 3rd and 2, 2.5. This asks a lot of the defense, because you're either going to come out in I formation or you're going to come out in spread, and that's asking a lot for those personnel to cover those 2 completely different offensive styles.
Well, it is and it isn't, but the thing is they're not actually changing the defense.
So spread it is, Jonathan, well called.
The overhang outside linebackers are just 2 yards wider versus the spread. Physical characteristics are different.
So is that our first delay of game penalty, perhaps?
And if it is, that's that is a big blow. And here's one of the drawbacks.
As much as anything, we're going to lay that one at the coach's feet, Jonathan, because you've got to be protecting your team.
But it's one of the drawbacks of having multiple sets and multiple personnels. We're on a 25-second play clock. You make a substitution, you're on a 17-second play clock. You know, so it's something that they've got to be aware of, and hopefully it's a one-off. Because this 3rd and 8 has now become crucial. 3rd and 7 maybe.
Still out and spread. Got too high look from the Spartans defense.
QB's having to roll due to pressure.
Goes long down the sideline for McFerrin.
That's PI and a first down.
Saying that the cornerback, number 29, didn't make an effort for the ball, and I tend to agree with him on that one, Jonathan. He didn't once turn his face cage around and look for the ball. Yeah,
and he initiated the contact by running directly into him. This is going to be a first down here, and that is put yourself in jail and then use your get out of jail free card.
Yeah, I mean, we had 6 defensive backs for the Holton's defense. Still, we just went to the speed merchant down the sideline. We've got the tailwind.
Holton still managed to create a good amount of pressure off that left edge, flushing the QB out, but the QB reset his feet really quite well and actually threw a peach of a ball. That ball was thrown almost directly on our eye line. It had a good spiral, a good arc.
It was right on the sideline, so the cornerback was really stretched out away from his help, even with the cover 2.
And the official on the call, Henry Richardson, was right in the right place, eyes locked on it, and makes a clean, confident, quick call.
So number 1's lined up very narrow at wide receiver position. Give right and drag down early. That might even be for a loss.
Yeah, number 1 I think is playing a little bit of a game with his corner.
Rory McDonald.
Inverclyde's corners are extremely deep, extremely zone focused. Number 24 for Halton, he's kind of facing up the play a little bit. He looks like he might even be in man coverage. He's kind of got that inside leverage. Mark Donald. And so maybe number 1 is playing with his leverage bit. Like now look again at number 24 on the far side of the field. He drops off now.
I think that might be against the defence. He made an aggressive move. The offensive lineman reacted.
There's a whole point in match though. Large gentleman's favourite thing to do on a football field, just point at each other. This time, from the body language, it looks like it's going backwards though, so Inverclyde with a false start, and that's going to be a bit of a pain because they lost 1 on first down, and now they're looking at like 2nd and 16, maybe even 2nd and 17.
Pretty good for a team that's been touted as run heavy. We've got some pretty good receivers.
Really interesting though. You can see they've gone to 2 safeties. There's now only 7 in the box. Number 50.
In the box, yeah. Goes underneath. That's a poorly thrown ball towards McFerrin.
Yeah, he
had some space underneath.
Yeah, he just mistimes that one a little bit, and
41 box now, Jonathan, with what looks like man coverage, cover 2.
Yeah, now I think the 41 box and maybe the cover 2 off the back or the 2-man could be a product of it being, you know, 3rd and 16, 3rd and 17. But we were asking for a defensive change because it needed it.
And now we've seen one.
I
spoke to the defensive coordinator at the Spartans. He said he's got 3 plans, and depending on what he sees, he can switch if it's not working. He's clearly gone to plan B, and that seems to have caused the Inverclyde.
We've seen number 55, Apakama, make tackles in the backfield. Let's see how he can play in half-field open coverage.
That's a beautiful throw and grab, number 5.
And he steps up and secures the tackle with his linebacker
the QB
buddy.
paid for that. He got hit from the front and the back, but he was happy to stand in there and deliver it, Jonathan. The offensive linemen love to see that.
Yeah, and the QB as well. He
4th and 1, Jonathan.
He didn't react when he was hit and there was a flag. He didn't react when he was hit and there wasn't a flag. You can tell he's up for this and a good solid game player. Now
so
there's a timeout here.
Does that mean we're going for it on 4th down?
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
1% lead. We've got the tailwind. Now this is, you've got these good receivers, so Halton have to stop the big play over the top. They've also got to stop the quick play underneath, and we know Inverclyde can bang it up the middle.
5-yard what's his face every time?
Yeah. TV 5 yards off.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's on in the spread. I think he's 53.
It's a timeout.
52.
It's a timeout though. So here we go.
His grandfather's. He's actually played longer than I have and started playing before I did.
Wow, that is something.
He played for the Clydesdale Colts. I think they won. They went to 3 Brit Bowls. I think Div 2 or Div 1 Brit Bowls. They won 1. That was a long time ago. A long time ago, Jonathan.
37 is the fullback this time.
He made me feel youthful when I talked to him. Back to high formation. Are we going to see a bootleg? Have we been watching number 49 on the backside?
The box is incredibly tight. Rory's got a huge amount of space out to the outside.
He bounces outside. That's surely enough. So McFerrin, we put McFerrin in now because we know he's fast. It's all gummed up. They lined up really narrow. He just bounced it outside and picked up the first.
Yeah, and the receiver made an inside move and blocked the outside linebacker, leaving the cornerback one-on-one. And to be honest, the Inverclyde running back just stuck him, drove his feet and picked up a good gainer.
So that's the second time McFerrin's handled the ball, once for a touchdown, once for a first down.
He's doing pretty well so far. He's extremely explosive.
So now inside Halton Spartans territory with a 1-point lead. This is looking good. They've turned the script.
It's really interesting to see Halton go from a 5-man box to a 9-man box That flexibility should be helping them out as long as they can get it at the right time.
So Kevin McAdam on the carry. That picks up a nice 4 yards on first down.
Inverclyde have done a fantastic job so far at sticking with their principles, and this is another long drive in the making.
Follows up the middle this time.
Yeah, good solid contact from the Halton front seven though, and they stone him dead with no yards after contact there.
So it brings up about 3rd and 4, maybe 3rd and 4.5. Will we see spread?
I think so, but I think we'll also see 2 down territory again here. If you're not going to kick the extra points, I'm not sure you're really going to go from a field goal for 35 plus. So I think we're playing for 2 downs here.
So number 25 stays in at the tailback.
So number 23 is shading out to number 1
so
side.
Now got 50 front from the Spartans. That linebacker's walked up.
The running back does well to slide off the contact.
Jump cut, man. And I think, is he there?
He has. He's got it on the first one. I think we were fairly confident they would have gone for it if they were short, but they don't need to as he picks it up. It looked stuffed up initially, but he slid very well off the contact, changed his angle, and picked up the first down.
Here's one thing I don't like, Jonathan. They've gone to a 50 front, but all they've done is walk that middle backer up. He's in a 2-point stance. You've got to be some sort of player in a 2-point stance to be able to stop a good run team.
Yeah, well, he must have been watching last year's Division 2 North final with, you remember number 44 was playing nose in a 2-point stance, and they went on to win it. Scored the winning touchdown himself.
Yeah, he had a good game. He had a good game, I got that one.
Maybe they just...
Brings up first. Gives it up the middle, weaves his way, picks up about 2.
The offensive coordinator is showing great confidence in his offensive line, and to be honest, there's no reason he shouldn't. They've played very well so far, but we are currently seeing a 9-man box with linebackers walked up to blitz, and these receivers screaming for one-on-one. They might not be open, but they want
enough to cause the Spartans enough duress to force them into a 9-man box.
Yeah, absolutely, but it's only gonna pay off if they actually do throw it. But
safety's really close to the line. Gives it again. This time met with nothing. So we've seen them bang it twice and throw the ball on third. This has taken me back to my youth, Jonathan.
Run, pass.
This is what football used to be. Run the ball, it's third down, throw it.
There's some people still in that mindset.
Well, Inverclyde's in the final. Thrashers won Div 1 and they ran the ball a lot.
I'm not saying running's bad. I'm saying that run, pass, run, pass.
So here we go, third down, we're in spread.
You'll notice here straight away, run, pass, 2 safeties. You see, when you become predictable and you get your tendencies.
Looks right. Number 1 grabs it.
He's got enough for the first.
So Rory McDonald again shows that good set of hands, and what's more important, Jonathan, where was he stood when he grabbed it? Beyond the chains.
Absolutely, yeah. He very expert. Veteran play, knowing how to make this move. He picked up absolutely no yards after the catch. He was well tackled by 3 or 4 players immediately.
But he didn't need to, did he?
Exactly. And we are first and goal. At about the
9.5, yeah. Back to I formation.
Back to 1 million people in the box.
I've only got 9.
8 now.
Drops back, rolls out. He's forced out of bounds on about a 5-yard loss.
And there's that tendency breaker I was looking for, but not quite the result. It's interesting that the QB immediately left the box, signaling it was some kind of sprint out, but there wasn't really any flood action from anybody else. There was no fake to the running back. There was no misdirection.
So you're thinking maybe that's just a designed rollout to get away from pressure?
Potentially, but unfortunately there wasn't any pressure, which makes it a whole load of wasted movement.
So out into spread, but we do have a bit more space for the spreads to work now. So back into cover 2. Number 55 drops back as one of the safeties. He's quite a slow man, throws it underneath. He grabs onto it.
Oh, we're going to be about
on the corner.
Yeah, we're going to be about 3rd and 7 here.
So
Third and goal at the 7.
Jonathan, is they're playing cover 2, but number 55, who's been walked back as one of the safeties, he's not a speed merchant. He looks to me like a run stopper.
Well, he is an athletic young man, and he's definitely can move. Playing deep half safety. We've mentioned him quite a few times. It's Apakama, responsible for the Halton memes each time they win, I believe.
He's called Catch. He likes to be called Catch.
He likes to be called Catch. Okay.
He was adamant when he spoke to me this morning. He would just prefer to be called Catch.
Okay.
So he's been asked a lot here because he's either got to step up in the box against this pretty good run attack, or he's dropping back into a safety position.
Yeah, and it's good that he's showing his range of abilities, because he hasn't looked massively out of place on it. The last 2 times he's played cover 2, he's been in on a gang tackle. I don't think when the ball's on the 7-yard line, we're really going to see him stretched. He's clearly capable of playing in this reduced field. It'll be more interesting if Inverclyde can force Halton into 2 deep coverage with 30, 40 yards behind him to work.
So I've seen Inverclyde really slowed this game down from what was a very quick tempoed game to start with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Started in about their own 12-yard line, and they've marched all the way down the pitch. Brings 3rd and goal. Drops back. Looks for number.
Thrown out the back of the end zone.
Number 40 was on the deep out.
To be honest, though, I think they're going to learn from that, and they're going to have another go, because I just, with a 1-point lead, with being a 2-point conversion team,
with a tailwind here, Jonathan, we are inside.
Yeah, I don't think it's a case of not having the leg. I think it's one of these things that if you don't kick field goals, you don't practice kicking field goals, and you just say, you know what, let's just focus on that time on 2-point plays.
Yeah,
let's focus on short yards conversions. Yeah, absolutely.
We're going for 2.
And I think number 25 on this near side of the field for Inverclyde is a mismatch with anyone on the field.
Look, fair, and he's probably the fastest guy on the pitch. Goes back. Looks on it underneath to 5. He's across.
Touchdown.
The ball's across. Number 5. What a grab in the contact. The Spartans were there. There was 2 of them. They hit him. He did just enough to get the tip of the ball over.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we can say about this
game of inches, Jonathan.
Yeah, what we really can say about this Bafa crew, they were completely all over it. We had back judge and deep linesman immediately pointed to the near linesman on this side, the head linesman, and said, "It's your call." His hands went in the air, and you know what they always say, put your hands up, it's a shootout.
Well, we're now in a very different position. Halton Spartans, after a fantastic start where they could have gone 14 to zip up. It's in and out of number 1. Oh, he's looking, 49's lucky not to get flagged there. He came and hit his face cage just after the ball hit his hands.
Yeah, now it's a bit of a funny one, because it's he didn't grab the face cage, he didn't use his helmet, he didn't use his shoulder pad to get into that head or neck area.
Just reminded him he was there in coverage.
Yeah.
Is that what we're going for, Jonathan?
I think so, yeah. You know, it's number 1's not going to be happy with that.
4 minutes 35 left in the half.
Yeah, I think number 1's not going to be really happy with that, but no real damage done, and I'm not sure that's ever going to be called.
7-point lead. Halton really need to do something here, otherwise they'll go into the changing room thinks that they've underperformed in this half. They've shown some really good football, but mistakes and penalties have really cost them.
Yeah, absolutely, and the good news is they've got great explosivity, and they can turn this game back in the blink of an eye. And these return specialists will be looking to do that.
They are hard runners up the middle.
Kicks is quite long this time. Oh,
good
great
grab.
Hands, and here he goes. Fake reverse. Nobody buys on it, but he runs it like a train.
He's still going.
And here we go, we got flags.
Come in.
And I saw it, and I've got a feeling this is going to go on Halton. It could go on both. If it's only going to go on one team, I think it goes on Halton, because
you think we're looking at an unnecessary roughness?
I don't think so. No, I think it's just going to be unnecessary roughness. Yeah, not unsportsing. I think it's just going to be a personal foul here. There was already afters and both sides were equally involved, but a third Holton player joined in and used his helmet. So I think that's going to be the thing that tips it over the edge. It could easily go on both though.
Disqualified.
Wow.
Catch what number that was?
Number 40. That is a big call. Number 46, I believe, for Inverclyde.
That's David Strachan.
That's.
Oh no.
I know, I'd love to see that again because
And he has to leave the sideline.
I saw both David and a Holton player engaging in heavy blocking helmet to helmet, but another Holton player come in and use their helmet as well. So for only one to get pinged and only one to be Inverclyde, it's a big blow.
That'll be a big loss for this Inverclyde Goliaths linebacker unit. He was a real run stopper.
Yeah, but we can't use our helmets in the game, and that's that.
Well, we said earlier on in the first, the referees aren't going to stand for any of that nonsense when we got the late hit on the quarterback, the roughing the passer call.
Yeah.
So Inverclyde are missing a couple of players through injury.
The drummer's not though, he's on fine form.
Power left, cuts back. Martin McClintock, head coach of Inverclyde Goliaths, he talked about the number of aggressive running backs Holton Spartans have. We've seen that today. These guys aren't you sort of bouncing out and getting the space. These
Yeah, and it's a bit of a it's early days to say this, but it's a bit of a production line because
again, same play.
They're in Widnes. They're in a rugby league hotbed. Every kid in school is growing up being told to run it true, run it straight. And you know, there's a high level of rugby league in and around the town, played in the schools.
Tried to bounce it there and look at the result. No dogs.
and I just think that they've got a very good mindset when it comes, and that's attack. They've not been afraid to say what they're good at, but they do actually hang their hat on it, and they just keep going, which is brilliant to see. Big false start there.
We're going to see the same play again. Was that going to be the play action? We've seen that before when they put twins right. They run the play action off that power left.
Yeah, and
throw it.
And it looks actually like it was a tackle on a long pull there, which made it looks like a dart. Which
I think it was the guard.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was the guy outside him, not the tight end this time. Or did he not have a tight end?
They had 3 receivers and a single back that time. So we've gone to. So 3rd and 12, into wind. Cover one man from IVG. Looks right. Throws it on.
Oh, and that'll go down as a bad drop. And you see the receiver's not happy with that. But onwards and upwards.
Yeah, I mean, trailing by 7 with time running out in the first. That's exactly the sort of play that you need to convert.
Yeah, and he's not. You know, early on he caught the touchdown.
Yeah.
You know, he's had a good start to the game, so that's where that frustration will come in, because he absolutely knows he can do it. But this is why, you know, playing in a final is so special, because every sort of emotional hook that's in you is twisted and amplified because there is no tomorrow.
So into wind on their own 43-yard line, they're going to punt the ball away. Inverclyde can't throw it deep, but they've had the last 2 drives have been real clock eaters.
It looks like if that's coming in right from the very far judge, it'll be delay of game.
Yeah, I mean, the right gunner for the Spartans wasn't on the pitch.
And most of the time, delay a game on a punt doesn't have too much of an effect.
I mean, let's look
But
at this,
his-
Jonathan. We've had one reasonable play to start. We're now looking at 4th and almost 20 from ill discipline.
Yeah, and the big difference here is the punt returner
Snap.
is comfortably out of his end zone. Got away with one there from the corner. You could see they were shouting something like
Shouting
clear.
Peter.
Was it Peter? Yeah, they were shouting Peter, but the corner the just paid absolutely no attention, and the ball only just missed him.
So, Jonathan, are you a Peter or a poison man?
A poison.
You're a poison. I'm a poison too. I think that speaks volumes. Get away from it.
Yeah.
I mean, there must be some players out there, Jonathan, that when you shout Peter think, oh,
What?
there's a new potential friend.
Yeah.
I'll run towards him.
Well, but also the ball's bouncing, and the cornerback's called Peter. Oh, I'll just stand still and stop and turn around.
Run away!
Yeah, but it's interesting that 2 people were active shouting, 1 player didn't respond. You need the sideline shouting it.
Gives up the middle.
Yeah, you really need the sideline giving you that help, and when 40 people are shouting it at you, you normally do something.
So we need to get a time check here.
Yeah, we were 4:30 and counting before that whole drive. I've not seen a 2-minute warning signals yet, though.
So we're going to go run, pass. Picked up nothing on first.
Well,
Maybe lost a half.
Last drive was the first one that was the tendency breaker, so we're in uncharted territory here. That's a good tackle.
And met with stiff resistance.
Yeah.
52, I believe, on the tackle.
And the way that the referee...
Timeout, Holton.
Yeah.
Holton must be banking on getting a stop, forcing them into punt and having just enough time for one more drive.
Yeah, and the way that Peter Roberts, the back judge, blew his whistle and ran in there, usually they're on timing. It looks like this might be the 2-minute warning. There was certainly a break.
This brings up a big 3rd down, because if they get a stop and force Inverclyde to punt, they're going to have one more crack at it before the half.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to see spread, Jonathan, aren't we?
Yep. And this is the type of field placement where we're saying if number 55, Ketch, is going to play the deep safety, this is where I want to get one of my track guys in a meet, but it doesn't look like
So
he is.
he's not on now.
It's,
We've got
no,
number
he's
23
he's on at far
Yeah,
linebacker.
he's on the far side. So we've got twins on IVG's left.
So it looks like
Tight
number
end.
24, Mark Donald's going to drop out the box late. He's kind of prowling around midfield.
Number 1 singled out. That could be false start in the
Yeah.
offense. Holton sideline starting to make some noise.
Yeah, the crowd's getting into it a little bit here because they can sense that this is an opportunity to I hasten to say, to get back into it, but they're down 8 now, aren't they?
7, I
no,
believe.
7. Yeah, down 7.
So is that 5 yards going to cost them?
Well, if you're going to convert 3rd and 11, you might have a chance at 3rd and 16, I guess,
So
but more
Holton
whistles.
seem to be showing press against number 1 on the outside, Rory McDonald.
But this time, Mark,
He's lined up very narrow, which
But-
means if he runs a fade, you're asking a lot of number 24.
yeah, but he is playing the sticks quite well. So 24's 16 yards off the ball at least.
Slant over the middle, that's the second time they've tried that play, hit 25 on the slant over the middle, the second time the QB's thrown it well in
Yeah.
front, and that's surely going to bring up a punting situation.
Yeah, and this is one
Holton have played
where
that well. The timeout, that's going to give them probably about a 1-minute 30-second drive.
yeah, and the returner always feels a little bit more comfortable when he's stood on his own 30-yard line. A little bit more emboldened about taking a shot here.
And
So
number 46 is back to return, Jonathan.
yeah, number 46, Carwyn Chamberlain, the Welsh Wizard again. Let's see if we can see these the fast feet.
Oh, it's a poor snap. Just
Ah,
manages to get it away and goes for the sideline.
Unbelievable though.
That's twice he's dug this punt unit
Yeah.
out of the you-know-where.
Phenomenal technique though to get that past midfield and giving Inverclyde about 50 yards to defend here.
Yeah, I mean, and and making the Spartans' offense go into wind. We've already seen the quarterback throw the fade down the side and get picked.
Yeah, and we've seen them score 2 touchdowns in the first quarter.
With a tailwind.
And we've seen them score 0 points in the second quarter.
Yeah.
So Inverclyde managed to stay fairly consistent and score in both, but Halton has stopped. The last couple of drives haven't been very impressive. Although there's a... Oh no, he's just blending into the subs. I thought it was a new formation, but the left wide receiver is out there.
Number 89, the tight ends.
20 personnel, big fullback in.
We had 2 pulling linemen. That is beautiful execution.
Yeah,
of the
and
offensive line. He had all sorts of blockers.
Yeah, and that time the punt returner gets a little bit more space than on his actual punt return, which was kicked straight out of bounds. They've taken the timeout, and they're looking at 2nd and 1 as they get over midfield.
About the 38. IVG really need to stiffen up and take this 7-point lead into the half. If Halton can get a score here, they'll be very happy with how it's panned out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think both teams will be fairly happy so far, mainly because the Inverclyde have done what they intended to. They've got a lead, they've scored, obviously they'll be happy. Halton
They've looked good in bursts.
Yeah,
but
in bursts.
Penalties
and
especially.
And fortunately, like, you can't create burst at half time if you don't have it, but you can eliminate penalties. Yeah. You can eliminate mistakes.
So we said it was going to be a close game. Come down to some big plays this drive.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a cracker
field
so
goal
far.
At the end of it. Don't forget, he's got a 40-yard leg into wins, maybe 35.
Yeah, that flag's going pretty hard, and they're gonna have to get a first down here and a little bit extra yardage before it becomes viable.
QB rolls right.
It's the speed option.
Oh, number 4 misses a tackle. And number 46 did nothing special other than keeping his weight over his feet and moving his feet. The number of guys he beat because they refused to wrap up on that play, Jonathan.
Yeah, the Inverclyde defence won't be happy with that play.
Very
I think
poor tackling, and how they managed to stop him short, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
They were quite lucky that the quarterback did a very poor pitch on the speed.
Yeah, and they kind of all relaxed and all hesitated.
3rd and short, gives it on a stretch left.
He breaks another tackle, but fortunately there's another player right there. Now it looks like he's got it though.
Well, the Inverclyde sideline gave a big shout.
Oh no, the referee's put his fist up. It's 4th.
They were happy. They've got to stop. That brings up 4th and short. We're probably outside field goal range, which means Halton are going to have to go for it if they want to get some points on the board.
Yeah, they've got to really get to the 30. The 30-yard line's a 47-yard field goal.
Jonathan, this is my call. We're going to hit big 89 on the pass. Power left. Power right. There we go.
He's got it.
Beautiful form tackle.
Yeah, he's got it clean though.
On the stop.
It's going to be a first
Robert
down.
Lynch.
Now the clock stops here whilst they reset the change, so it's going to be interesting to see when this is whistled in. The box is set, the chains are set, here it goes. So now the clock is running.
Drops back, looks left, throws on the slant.
It's wide open.
Nice grab on. And he's in. And just when we said Halton needed to get some
it's short and a timeout Halton. They must be about on the 1. Wow,
try to get a time check here, Jonathan.
Yeah. The player there again on that quick slant was wide open. 9 seconds.
9 seconds remaining. So we're talking one play. Halton are out of timeouts, Jonathan. What are you calling here?
I think I'm probably going to be calling something like that dart or that power. I'm going to get one of those big linemen moving. I'm not sure if the QB can keep it if the defense overflow. The The other thing is that you've got your slant flat combo. That huge play was built off a slant, but he was open from the moment the ball was snapped to the moment he caught it. He was wide open all day and out
all
into
the way
that
over
field.
on the right hash, Jonathan. A lot of space to defend. Timeout by IVG. They didn't like what they saw. And we're still in the first half, Jonathan, but we're coming down to these game-defining plays. This here, trailing by 7, 9 seconds remaining, basically one play left from their own, what about a 1.5 yard line?
Yeah, with 9 seconds left and everyone being out of timeouts, it slightly sort of puts in your head to throw it because you might get 2 plays. If you fail on any run, it's over. Okay, so if you've got a mismatch that you like the big tight end fullback number is 89.
Well, he's in at tight end now. It looks like we're going to heavy set.
It looks like he's offset fullback in 20 personnel. If he stood next to 26, he is about 7 foot tall. He might be, but 76 is that. We've got a bit of a change in commentary position for this game. If anyone's wondering, we're at the far end of the field from here, and it's making it a little bit difficult to see. The snap's clean.
Stretch
Contact in the backfield. He's short, and that's probably going to be the half.
Holt's gone a timeout. They're out.
No, they're all out. They're all out. That's the half. That's a huge stand.
What a tackle. And that will be the end of the half. They'll march in, nursing a 7-point lead, and they have really taken their chances today, Inverclyde.
That is absolutely huge for them.
Who made the tackle? Who's on the tackle? Number 37, Scott Little, really helps his team out on that goal line tackle.
When you're on your own 1 yard line, it's not common to use the phrase open field tackle. But the seas parted, the lineman did an incredible job. It was 1-on-1 in the hole, and he makes a perfect fit form tackle and gets the job done.
Yeah, he's coming across now.
Inverclyde walked past us into the changing room with a 7-point lead. 3-4 minutes into this match, it looked like they could be 14-0 down. That has been some turnaround.
Yeah, absolutely. It really has been a tale of 2 quarters. Early on, Halton could have gone 14-0 up. They could have gone 14-7 up. Well, they did go 14-6 up. Huge pressure, huge explosivity. But as the game's gone on, Inverclyde have just made slightly fewer mistakes than Halton, and Halton have really got in that speech over there. They've got to say, is this us? Is this what we're about?
I mean, the teams look good. It's just been penalties, and not just penalties at key moments that have really cost them. So we're now going to go over to something a bit special for the season. We're going to talk about the John Slavin Award. So we're going to be joined by Liam Wootton, a Bafa referee, and Ian Derbyshire, the general manager for the Holt Spartans. If you could join us, gentlemen, please.
Thank you, guys.
So, Jonathan, it's now time for the presentation of the 2019 John Slavin Award for the Bafa National League. Now, the awards are made by BAFRA, the Referees Association, to the teams that show outstanding commitment to improving the game experience for players and fans, as well as officials. This season, at every game, the referees have assessed the quality of each team's game day management, and the award goes to the team with the best average mark. Please welcome BAFRA representative Liam Wootton to present the award to Ian Derbyshire, General Manager of the Halton Spartans.
Cheers. Thank you, Liam. Cheers, thank you.
So Ian Derbyshire, General Manager, just a few words what this award means to you and your organisation.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big award. It's not just about me, it's about an amazing off-field team, amazing set of committee, game day management, but we try and put on a really good show at Halton Stadium. And it's about a game day experience that we want to be the best in the country. So yeah, big team behind me, bought into the vision, and that's what it's about here at the Spartans.
Okay, well, thanks very much for those words. You get in, talk to your team
Cheers,
now.
thank you.
We're, Jonathan, we're now going to go to advert, I believe. And I've got a couple of adverts, then we'll come back and do a first half analysis.
Absolutely, can't wait for it.
EP Sports brings you the UK's largest range of American football equipment, from helmets and shoulder pads to gloves and boots. They stock all the latest items from the biggest brands with great prices and fast shipping options all across Europe. What's more, EP have just launched their own teamwear range, allowing you to rep your program in a huge range of garments from top suppliers. You can even set up your own team shop, and to kick things off, EP are offering up custom team polo shirts at just £10 a pop. To learn more, check out epsports.co.uk.
Traveling this holiday season, you are going to want to get this, guys. Check this out. This is the homing pin. 1%. Now, this seems like a low number to me. 1% of all bags carried by airlines are misplaced. That seems really low. Anyway, yeah, exactly right. For a family of 5 traveling twice a year means 20% chance of losing your bags.
Now, Homing Pin provides travelers with baggage loops with tags, key rings, and stickers that have a unique tracking number. Homing Pin labels can also be attached to cell phones, laptops, cameras, and passports.
That's right. You can get a 15-piece standard pack for $20 or a 5-piece starter pack for only $10 at homingpin.com. Now, we spoke about this a couple weeks ago with our tech expert, Nika Allen. So if you want to get a recap on that as well, head over to casa.com. But really, really great stuff, because it will locate, regardless of where it is, it will locate your bag. So you don't have to rely on the airline saying, well, we don't know where your bag is. You can say, you know what, I'm going to do you one better. Right here, I can tell.
I can tell. Can you imagine that, like, flying into the Sunport and be like, my bag is in Miami?
Yeah, like, exactly.
Awesome.
Let's start straight away. Ian, 8-0 regular season. This is a team that's been going for 4 years. Just tell us about this season and how it's been different to the past few.
We've won more games for the start. No, we've I'd say we've exceeded. I won't say we've exceeded our expectations. We wanted to win as many games as we can, as all teams do. But I think it's, in all honesty, it's the manner in which we've done it. To be honest, we've scored points. I won't say freely or at will or anything like that, but we have scored quite a few points, and we've also conceded less points than we've ever conceded before as well, albeit over an 8-game season.
Now, I talked to you about the difference between this year and last year, and you said last year it was no secret that one of the positional groups that wasn't the strength of the team was the O-line. You've been out, you've recruited, your vets have got a bit more experience, and you actually said that is one of the strengths, especially on offense. Your O-line is really starting to gel. I spoke to the Inverclyde Goliaths head coach, and he said your offensive line, the big, the strong, the physical. Just tell us what it's taken to get this offensive line to this position.
The offensive line, they've actually come with a wealth of experience. I mean, we've recruited 3 from Chester Romans, 1 from Merseyside Nighthawks, and another guy that's not played for a couple of years. He's come back in, but they've all got experience, and that's been the biggest plus this year. They've not needed to be taught or shown. They're doing a lot of, because Mike Briscoe and Mike Ireland, they're joint offensive line coaches. They've got the lads to where they need to be today, and it really is a good, solid, strong unit.
Now, your team is actually born out of the ashes from a team, the Halton Demons, back from the 80s and 90s. Now, special mention, Simon Grice, Simon Wainwright, Ian Derbyshire, who's now the general manager, and yourself. And your team is one of these teams that I'll say has done it the right way. You said to me that your first 2 years, you were totally sorted off the field, your backroom staff, and the on-field stuff was lacking. It now seems that it's come to the fore that all of that hard work you've done off the field is starting to pay dividends. Talk to us about that backroom staff.
The backroom staff is made up of, there's quite a few volunteers. The committee is made up of non-playing people and playing people. We have a player rep who does a good job. We have a secretary that does a great job. The treasurer, they all roll into one. We have regular meetings. We have regular meetings down at the stadium with Halton Borough Council who run the stadium, and obviously Ian Derbyshire, general manager. He ties everything together. He does a phenomenal job. People don't understand how much work goes on off the field, and that's including our own players. They don't understand how much goes off it as well.
Well, just talking about that Halton Stadium, I mean, you've got that deal with Halton Stadium. It's a fantastic facility, and you've just been awarded the John Slavin or John Slavin, depending on how you pronounce it, award for the best playing game day facilities, and that comes down to the backroom staff. So once again, really well done. Quite a long delay. You're in the NFC North Div 2 final against Halton Spartans. Now, at the start of the season and through the seasons, most people would have placed Halton Spartans and Birmingham Bull as sort of interchangeable rank number 1 and 2. Now, personally, I ranked Birmingham as 1 to beat Halton. Now, you've beaten Birmingham, and you're looking forward to Halton. Now, you actually said before we had this interview that you thought that Halton would be the tougher test. And so you've beat the Bulls with a decent victory. You said it was close, but 30-12 is still a proper victory. It wasn't a squeaker. What is it you've got to do against this Halton Spartans team to get that victory?
Yeah, like I say, I mean, no disrespect to the Bulls. I feel that watching Halton play, they look to me like a slightly better side. They're very, very physical, very, very big. They have a lot of good depth. And they're talent all over the field, right? It starts at their offensive line. They're big, fast, aggressive. We watched them play against Clyde Valley last week, and we saw them move the ball reasonably well against those guys. And we know Clyde Valley, obviously being in the division, we know they're a tough defence, but Halton are out there moving the ball okay on them, and that's obviously something we need to be concerned about. I think for us, you can see them play. They've got this dual threat type player at quarterback. I
was going to raise that with you because your defensive coordinator. You set out your defense, you can scheme for everything, but one of the things that really hurts a defense is that extra gap or extra man to account for, which is a dual threat quarterback. I mean, what is it you're scared about him bringing to the table?
I mean, they run that speed option really, really well. I mean, they can get the ball out on the edge. They've got, I kind of lost count of how many good running backs they've got trying to break down the film. There's at least 3 or 4 of them in the backfield that can all run. They're all fast. They're all aggressive. But the quarterback, for me, he makes good decisions. He gets the ball out on the edge. If he's getting pressure on his face fast, he's going to pitch it quickly. But, he'll get downfield and pitch it late as well, and that can be dangerous. He gets 5-6 yards down the field, then makes a late pitch when you're overcommitted. And I've seen them score against that a couple of times this season where they break a 60-yard run because they're 2-on-1 in the open field. They get good athletes out in space, and that's, difficult to defend for everyone. So that's something we're obviously going to be focused on. How do we contain that, and how do we adjust our run fits to make sure that that's accounted for, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's really difficult. If a team executes a speed option, they're basically getting to the point where they've got an extra person to account for. It can be very difficult. So you said their defense as well. Their defense, you said to me, is a 44, but they can walk Sam down, become a 53. You've basically with a cover one shell over the top. You've also seen them go to a 43 cover 2. I mean, you said this team is a team that's well coached, and you expect them to change it around. Now, you guys, you've exchanged tapes, so they've seen you. You are a run-heavy team, and you run between a tackle. You take half your snaps under centre, half from shotgun. What do you think they will do to try and stop you? Do you think you'll see a 44 front, or do you think you'll see a 7-man box with a 43?
I think we'll see an 8-man box. I'd be surprised to see anything else. Look, watching them on tape, they want to get 8 guys there in the box. They want to play in that 44. When we see them going out into 43 with a too high shell, it's they've got a lead and they're protecting that, and that's their thing. But I would be surprised. Like you say, they've seen our tape already. We've seen theirs. They know we're going to want to come in and run the ball. They're going to put 8 guys in the box, and then we'll go from there.
Right. Before we finish, I'm going to
Sure.
raise one thing, Martin, because
Yep.
I've spoke to a lot of head coaches the last few weeks, and they all talk about the regular season and promotion, and that's all that matters, and the bowl game doesn't matter. And me, the whole way through the season and the whole way through my playing career, the highlights for my playing career is getting to a bowl game and winning it. Now, I've been part of teams that have been promoted. I've been part of teams that have been demoted. The things I remember is getting to a bowl game, that's happened twice, and winning a bowl game, that's happened precisely once. What are you saying to your guys in this match that doesn't really matter because you're already promoted?
We want to win. We want to win. No doubt about it. I agree with what you're saying. We want to win the bowl game. It's going to be a tough challenge, but that's what we're setting out to do. We're not talking about our job being done now because we've been promoted. Our focus is that game in just over 2 weeks, just under 2 weeks now. We want to go down there, play the best football we can play, and try and come away with a win.
Well, welcome back, everybody. You join us again at Druids Park after what can only be described as a very exciting first half of football, Jonathan.
Yeah, absolutely. It swung both ways, and Halton jumped out to an immediate start. Huge amount of hype. Huge punt return that gets called back with a flag when
Number
we thought,
42 was busting tackles left, right and centre.
Huge. First 5 minutes looked like Halton were going to absolutely run away with it, but Inverclyde stuck to the principles, steady, got a foothold in the game, came right down and scored. Started to play a bit better defence, started to get a little bit more tackle, contact on these ball carriers, and ultimately they just kind of stuck with a plan and they found themselves with a lead at the half.
Well, let's look at how their last 2 months have gone. I mean, they had a pretty poor start to the season, but in the second half of the season they went out and beat 2 eventual playoff teams in Dumfries and Clyde Valley.
Yeah.
They then, won a very close first round playoff game, a pretty close game against the Bulls. So they're not a team that panics when they go behind.
And it kind of fits the sort of it kind of makes sense because they're the most experienced rookie team ever, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of people who've played before.
They've also been through this 2-year association
Absolutely,
process.
yeah. And I heard that they played 12 games. 12 games as an associate team is an incredible effort. It shows an incredible amount of preparation. If they've already played 12 associate games, 8 regular season games, and 2 playoff games prior to this, we're already over 20. This is the 23rd game as a club. That's 2 sort of 3 seasons in the bank.
Yeah, I suppose your rookies have got quite a bit of experience.
Yeah, your rookies have got experience, and your veterans have played across the league for different teams in the past.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm going to say something you might not agree with here, but I actually would say that Halton have looked the more talented team, but Inverclyde have taken their chances and not made mistakes so far.
Yeah, I can see where that comes from, and I kind of agree. I think Halton.
I mean, they've had penalties that have called back a touchdown. They've had penalties that would have stopped a turnover on downs. So if they could eliminate those penalties, this would be a different score.
Yeah, I think the big thing is though, like Halton's strengths. It's huge offensive line. It's hard running. Has come up against a very well-disciplined unit, an Inverclyde's front 7, front 8, and
front 9 in some occasions.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference is that Inverclyde might have fewer people that you're like, whoa, that guy's ready for the next level, but 2 of them happen to be at wide receiver.
Yeah, we're at number 1 and number 25,
and they've consistently been one-on-one, and so. Sometimes you can't get extra numbers, sometimes you can't get space on the field, and the best thing you can do is put your best player against one of their players and hope he's better. I think that so far, whilst there are quite a lot of exciting players on Halton, Inverclyde have found a way of getting their most explosive, most exciting players into the game.
Yeah, well, we saw in that first half, and what we would call a run-heavy team, 3 passing touchdowns.
Yeah, and here's the big thing. Only one player can ever hold the football. So you can have 5 running backs, but only one of them can hold the football. And Inverclyde have found a way of getting the ball in playmakers' hands more consistently than Holton have.
Now let's talk about that final last play of the half. Holton had the ball a yard and a half from the goal line. If they'd punched it in, put them 1 point behind, would probably back them to make the kick. That is a fantastic, huge play from the Inverclyde.
Huge open field tackle, and maybe that's where a little bit of lack of inexperience comes in. I think the Holton sort of mentality says run it through, run it straight, bang this guy and push it over. With the size of the running back, if he'd held the ball out in one hand, dived over, slid under, I think at that point he had to give his body up and just get the ball over the line in any way, shape or form.
Well, we can contrast that when we actually saw the passing touchdown to the left of screen. The Inverclyde player did exactly that.
Yeah.
Pretty much the only part that went across the goal line was his head and the tip of the ball.
Yeah, he got banged for it as well, but it always feels less painful when the referee's got his hands in the air. And I think that if the running back on that last play for Holton had a second chance at it, we might have seen him go airborne. We might have seen him take a little bit more of a risk, because the Inverclyde player made a superb form tackle.
So looking forward to the second half. I mean, both teams, I think, are going to stick with their principles. I don't think either team will be looking to change anything up. Inverclyde will keep saying just play conservative, take our shots when we can. Holton will be saying get rid of mistakes.
Absolutely, I 100% agree. I'm looking forward to it. I hope they stick to the principles, and we're about to see Inverclyde receive the kickoff in this second half. Unfortunately, the sun's come out.
So hangs up high in the wind.
It's a good return. He's got a bit of space here, but great pursuit from number 29.
Yeah, number 29, the guy blocking him, committed the cardinal sin of getting separation on the block.
Yeah, number 29, I think, though, made it very difficult for him, because 29 never stopped his feet, always kept his feet moving. He was pursuing across the field from quite a distance, and he did extremely well to make a good, solid open field tackle. So no big changes here. It's 1st and 10, possession and 10 for Inverclyde, and they're out here on the left hash, and they come out with eye right.
So number 1 on their right hand side, in press coverage again with no help over the top. I mean, is that a tendency thing?
I mean, at this stage, I hope it is, because it's certainly where, with my mind on this game, it's where I'd be pulling the trigger.
Yeah, I mean, Inverclyde have now got a tailwind. Got number 1 on the right hand side. Number 29's lined up in press. Number 1's very narrow. So all sorts of space.
Yeah,
for that
and
outside
it
release.
started overcast, and it started with a dampness in the air, but now the sun's out, the ball will be bone dry, your gloves are bone dry.
They also have press on the other side, so Spartans are trying to get pressure early to stop this pass. Got a 9-man box. So run, spread, throw the ball.
You called it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. And it's one of the limitations about playing I formation that, you know, it's difficult for the QB to drop back enough to give himself time to then look downfield to beat him. But those 9 box defenders for Holton now are focused solely on the running back and where the ball is, which makes me think if a little play action, maybe the next series, a little play action, throw it deep down the
play
sideline.
action, double move, something like a sluggo. They've tried the slant so many times and thrown it poorly.
Staying in a tight formation.
It is a boot, though. Here we
Bootleg.
go.
Throws on the comeback to number 25.
And he looks to have made it.
Exactly what we said, but instead of a play action, it's what you said earlier. He boots, he play acts it, and he rolls out on the boot.
And really interestingly, number 25 runs a beautiful route there. If it's a curl by design, fantastic call by the coach.
Are we thinking a choice route where
Well,
he can either go long or drop up underneath?
I think he's the type of player that knows where the sticks are. The entire box bit on the fake, so he knew he could work back inside, and at the sticks he stopped dead, and he's done a fantastic job of converting that 3rd and long.
Dangerous game with these wide receivers at the moment. Give inside again.
And they're like a metronome, aren't they? 3 yards on 1st down. Here we go again. Boom, boom, boom. So we're looking at 2nd and, maybe 4 on that pickup. We're looking at 2nd and 6.
And That is, you cannot afford to give that sort of distance away against Inverclyde on first down.
Not if you're playing 8 in the box. Certainly not. No.
Another run. We're expecting another run.
On the last play, the Halton defence really didn't get set up. This time they're much sharper out the huddle, and actually looks like they're going to get a much better result as well.
So it's time for a pass now, Jonathan.
And I just want to give a big shout out there to number 23, very active linebacker on the inside for Halton. He pursues down. He was playing the cutback perfectly, Ricky Talbot. He was about to pile on. He was about to give a first down up, but he managed to check himself, and he stayed upon his feet. So well done, that man.
So it brings up a 3rd and 5. They're going to stay with. Oh, we've got spread. We've got outside press coverage with cover 2. Looking left to McFerrin. Throws it underneath.
Oh.
And the ball's just slightly too high. That looks to me like another choice route. Against press, you wouldn't expect him to throw the comeback, but he's obviously he's punched him and then tried to get deep.
Yeah, and it's. I think maybe that was called up, but I think the receiver there's tried to do everything he can to make the play longer. You know, it's always a fade until it isn't, and he's really tried to sell it because you're running a hitch against cover 2. You've got a bit of a difficult task.
So 49 back to return, punting with the wind from the halfway line.
Very calm.
Fields it on his own goal line, makes one miss. Oh, we have a flag.
We're going to go for the horse collar here.
Number 37 on the stop.
Yeah, and it's going to be a horse collar. He's unfortunate to get his hand in the jersey in that area.
So
Anywhere
Scott
up
Little,
on
that was the man that made that final play tackle in the first half.
Yeah, and he's actually looked out there that he's been horse collared, because this is going to take it back out to the 25. He fielded that exactly on his own goal line, which was brave, risky. Definitely isn't in the standard coaching manual. Most punt returners are going to let that
bounce.
Anything inside their own 5, maybe even their own 10. One thing that was really nice though from the punter, number 25, he held it and he thought about the fake because his protection was so good. He had just a great presence and hung up a sky kick really well.
So either way, Jonathan, it brings about a change of possession. Let's see where the referees spot the ball. Calls the green captain over.
Looks like there's 2 fouls, and they're going to potentially make them kick again because the defence has come back out on the field and the punt returner is back deep. So we're going to have a little bit of a discussion here. Inverclyde just called for the punt team. Okay, so we're going to replay the down now. It's quite interesting that, because obviously they don't want to be up under their own goal line. But the biggest thing is the punter had so much time and he thought about the middle draw. Now he's had 2 minutes to think about it.
Fourth and 5, is it time for a fake?
But that's what I'm talking about. He's had 2 minutes to think about how big that gap was.
Holds it again, and this time
There's a
that's
much
a
better
beautiful kick right towards Coffin Corner, bounces
Yeah.
out on about the 4-yard line.
Yeah. And
A 5-yard line, that is a beautiful placed kick.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's just what you said, Jonathan. He had all sorts of time to set himself up,
And to
pick his
yeah.
angle, a nice follow through with his leg.
And the big difference on that play was, though, on the first one, the A-gaps opened up a huge gap, and you could see he was thinking about taking off. This one, the Halton D-line did a much better job of keeping their sort of gap
But
presence
delayed their rush.
and keeping a solid wall, so the punter had to punt it away, but he did it excellently, and Halton take over on the 5.
So are we going to see anything different from Inverclyde, maybe a zone blitz?
I'd like to think so.
QB lines up inside the end zone. Good snap. Good push from the D-line. That's, I was going to say overthrown, but the wind hung it up and he got both hands on it.
Yeah, and there's a real big question here. The wide receivers have been making consistent inside moves and beating the cornerbacks inside. Where is the free safety? When that ball was thrown, I was like, hang on, he's open. Then my second thought was, why is he open?
Yeah.
The free safety should have been intercepting that. The ball clearly hung. So we need to see number 1 get into this game.
Gives it. Picks up
That's
a nice
good,
5.
solid run.
Maybe 4 yards on second.
Yeah.
That was a good stop by Inverclyde. He had only had 1 to break before he got to that first down.
Yeah, and yeah, it's a good play, but they're in 3rd and 6, and this is really going to see what the OC's about and what the QB's about here, because there's a hesitation breaking the huddle.
Yeah, I mean we've seen a good rush off the 4, but the linebackers are dropping. You're thinking of the QB perhaps keeping it?
Potentially, yeah, because anytime you see the huddle hesitate when they break, there's usually a following communication.
Showing blitz. Number 57 gets pressure. Beautiful grab. But did he do enough?
Oh, it's close. It's
And
real
he's
close.
Short by half
it looks
a yard.
short, yeah. And
Now 57 got pressure. That's Robert Lynch. Great block from the Holt Spartans running back, but he did enough to get the QB's eyes off.
well,
Lovely
you know what?
off-field
Yeah,
tackle.
but Rick Lowthian stood there with his presence. You know, his height. He elevated the ball over the rush and threw for a completion. And but for a great open field tackle, it would have been a first down. You know, it's a real tough
So here we see
situation
number
here.
25. He's back deep to return with number 5 as the up back.
And the wind just gusts up a little bit. We can see the Holton Spartans flag in full flow.
Good pressure up the middle.
Ooh, 78 is a whisker away.
And he
Oh
drops
no.
it. And he had enough time to field that and maybe make something happen in open field. That's a nice punt, especially without pressure coming up straight up the gut.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 78 for Inverclyde. Huge player.
Martin
Reaches
Munsey.
out. He does a great job of exploding off the line and reaches forward, but he must have been half a finger away from getting something on that.
So Inverclyde getting the ball back, protecting a 7-point lead. They've got the win behind them.
And they're definitely winning the battle of average field position.
At what point are they going to take a shot on first down?
Hopefully now. You got to
Well,
call
we've
it.
got press, free safeties in the box. Gives up the middle. We stay with the script.
Yeah, and now unfortunately this time it's probably the worst first down play of the day. They gain about half a yard on that one up the middle.
I mean, this is the classic time, this third quarter lull, to try and make something happen and stretch that lead.
Yeah,
out.
and 2nd and 8, you need 4 or 5 really to call it a successful play. So are you going to get 4 or 5 by handing it off up the A-gap again? No, it's been 2, it's been 3, it's been occasionally 4 from them.
24 free safeties.
There's a free 5 and a free play. And the run gains half a yard perhaps, but the penalty gains them 5, which is going to put it at 2nd and short.
Yes,
which
this
is
is your time to take your shot.
Well, according to the Craig Lenihan timing window, 2nd and short is 100% a deep ball, isn't it?
Jonathan, if you're going to win a bowl game, you have to protect a lead. We've already said some of the better plays for this IVG offense are playing at wide out.
Absolutely,
They're in press, man coverage with virtually no help over the top. They've scored 3 passing touchdowns, 2 on a fade.
I just hope all your, book season's coming up. I just hope all your division rivals are keying in for this, for all your unique insights into it.
Well, here's the thing, Jonathan.
Or is this the hoax? Are you setting them up?
I've run air raid for 2 years. Next year it will not be air raid.
Interesting, giving it away. Super air raid.
Super duper.
5 wide air raid.
Gives it on short yardage. That looks to be enough.
I mean, the great thing, that there's loads of positives here about Inverclyde's offense and what they're doing, but they are shortening the game a minute every single play.
Oh yeah, that's number 23, David Pasnick on the carry. It's their only American player they have. Clyde.
Yeah, I'd have to change that for Division 1. Spread on first.
Yeah.
Spread on first
Jonathan's
down.
putting
Here
his
we go.
hand around my shoulder.
This is what we wanted.
Cover 2.
Give them what we want.
Goes down
Whole
the
shot.
sideline for McFerrin, and number 24 is there. What a play! And he went to the well one too many times. The ball was underthrown. It was too far from the sideline. Number 24 read it to perfection. High point of the ball.
It was thrown in exactly the spot you don't want it. You either throw that ball maybe a little earlier, a little bit more to the sideline and take the actual hole shot, or you throw it right into the back of the end zone and make that DB transition. The defensive